Hello, my name is Sandra Meredith. I work for the Law Faculty at Oxford University, where I teach legal research skills and, among other things, edit OSCOLA together with Donal Nolan, who's one of the professors here. This is a guide to citation of legal sources in the UK. It's used by most universities and most publishers, and it's really a sort of a collection of the standardised ways of citing in the UK. I'm not going to talk about everything that's in the book. It is quite short. You can download it for free from www.law.ox.ac.uk/OSCOLA, or you can buy it from Hart Publishers or Amazon or bookstores. So you can read it for yourself. I'm not going to read it to you, but I am going to tell you about some of the things that I think people find most difficult and that are perhaps least easy to understand until you become familiar with them. So first, citing UK cases. So the first thing, which is probably very familiar to you, is that you cite first the party name and that you do that in italics. So with this example, the party name is Beatty and E&F Beatty Limited. We suggest that you cite it without any full stops, so Beatty v. E&F Beatty, and use an abbreviation for limited. There are lots of abbreviations that you can use in case names. OSCOLA has a list of them at the back. You want to try and keep your case name fairly succinct. You don't want a big long case name in the middle of your memorial or a document. So that's the first thing. That's probably the easiest thing. The next thing is a bit more complicated. The next thing you cite is the citation for the report, so the place where this report for this judgment can be found. And it looks like this, and this is a citation for what's called the best report. So let me explain that. There's no official publications of judgments in the UK. The nearest thing to an official report series are the law reports, which are published by the Incorporated Council of Law Reporting and have been for well over 100 years. Those reports are called appeal cases, which has the abbreviation AC, Queen's Bench, abbreviated QB, Chancery, abbreviated CH, Family, abbreviated FAM, and so on. So you need to cite them by their abbreviation, and you need to cite that report. So in this example, so this is Chancery Division Reports. So the abbreviation is CH. The year, you'll see the year here in square brackets. The reason square brackets are used is because there's no volume number for these law report series. So the year is standing in as a volume number, if you like. It's crucial to finding that law report. And so the year is put in square brackets. Sometimes you get a little 1 or 2 or 3, as you get in this example with the appeal cases. There might be 2 or 3 volumes in a year, but the year itself is effectively the volume number. So volume number, abbreviation, and then the first page of the report. Even if you are citing a different page, part of a judgment that's on a different page, you always have to have that first number of the report. So they're the essential elements, and you have to have the court. So this judgment is in the Court of Appeal. It's written here, a bit obscure, but you can generally find out what court it was. So Court of Appeal, you put that in brackets CA. If it was House of Lords, you put in brackets HL. For High Courts, you put the division. It's very important to put the court, particularly for mooting, so that the judge instantly knows the level of authority of that judgment. So the court is crucial. And then if you are going to cite a particular page of a judgment, that number follows the court in brackets. So, and this bit that I'm referring to is on page 722. So they're the essential elements of a report of a judgment. That is up to 2001. There was a change in 2001. And in some courts, 2002, it happened differently in different courts at different times, but the higher courts, 2001, when what's called neutral citations or media neutral citations were introduced. Now, these citations are effectively a case number. They look, unfortunately, they look like a report number. So this is a neutral citation here. You can see it here in the report, 2008 UK HL 13. It looks exactly like the number of a citation of a report, but it differs in important ways. The 13 means it's the 13th judgment of 2008. That's the year there in square brackets. And UKHL stands for UK House of Lords. So this was the 13th judgment in the House of Lords in 2008. There's a list of neutral citations in the back of OSCOLA, which you might find quite useful. The one that I think is most peculiar to people who aren't from here is the one where you get EWCA Civ or EWCA Crim. That EWCA stands for England and Wales Court of Appeal. That's not immediately obvious. You also get that with the High Court, EWHC. There are also tribunals, it's a very widely used system now, who use this system. So for cases that have a neutral citation, that is those after 2001 or in some courts 2002, party names in italics, neutral citation, and then the best report again. And then you'll see here I've got in square brackets 68. That's because I'm wanting to refer to the content, to what the judge said, which is in paragraph 68 of that judgment. So you write that by putting square brackets around the paragraph number. You'll notice that there's no court in brackets in this citation, and that's because the court is indicated here in the neutral citation. You have to have these elements because that's what's required by the courts. If you're going to go into courts, into the appeal court and make an appeal on behalf of someone, that's how you're supposed to cite cases. So it's a good idea to get into the habit of doing that with your citations from the beginning. So that's basically all I'm going to say about citing those judgments. Legislation is relatively simple. UK legislation, it's the short name of the Act and then the year. So for example, Human Rights Act 1998. If you're going to cite a particular section, you put a comma after the year and then an S with no punctuation, and then the number of the section, so S2 or something like that. EU legislation is pretty straightforward. You cite the name of the regulation or the directive, which is generally quite long. You can cite a shorter name after the first time you've mentioned it. And then you give the OJ reference following what I would call set the English style. So you would put the year in square brackets, then the abbreviation OJ, and then the number of the volume and a slash and the page number for the official journal. OSCOLA doesn't cover treaties and conventions and so on, but there is on the OSCOLA website a 2006 document from a previous edition of OSCOLA that does have examples of how to cite some conventions and other international law sources that you might find important. That's also freely available for download. So then my last thing really on primary sources now is ECJ cases, so European Court of Justice. There's an example here, the page from OSCOLA. Again, this is they do something a bit different with case numbers. That all the ECJ cases have case numbers. The case number goes before the party names. So you write case, and then generally if it's ECJ, it'll be C for that court, hyphen, and then you get two numbers. The first number is the number of that case as it went into the court, and then slash, and then the last two numbers of the year. So this example, C-176/03 is the 176th case going into the Court of Justice in 2003. And then after that, party names in the same way, in italics, and then the English, the UK form of the citation, so year in square brackets, ECR for the European Court reports. You need, if it's volume 1 or 2, in Roman letters, and the page numbers. And then just to make things a bit complicated, you don't put the paragraph numbers in square brackets, you put a comma and then you write paras, and then you write the paragraph number. The only time you put square brackets around paragraph numbers is for UK cases. So that's really all that I'm going to say about primary sources, and there's a separate video on secondary sources using the OSCOLA style. So I hope you find that straightforward. Do download the guide and have a look. It'll take a bit of practice to get good at it, but you will get good at it. Thank you.